Australia Day this year wasn't a celebration for me. It was a test. For a long time now, I have carried the concern that our political system is no longer simply failing Australians, but actively reshaping the country in ways that centralize power, manufactured division, and a quiet delete of our freedoms that we used to assume were permanent is happening right in front of us. But beliefs mean nothing if they are never tested. So instead of arguing with folks online, instead of speaking only to people who already agree with me, I wanted to observe. Not politicians, I do that a lot lately, not commentators, but Australians, real Australians, on Australian Day in Brisbane. I wanted to understand the spirit of the country, what people were actually feeling, whether my concerns were being shared or whether I was simply lost in my own perspective that wasn't reality. And what I encountered, well, were two rallies, two atmospheres, and two very different visions of Australia's future. What I witnessed validated concerns that many Australians are afraid to voice. We arrived in the city and unintentionally we walked into the wrong rally. This was a First Nations protest, and before anyone jumps to conclusion, this wasn't only Indigenous Australians. There were plenty of white Australians here too. And it was tense.
Every time one of our people go up against it, put your hand up!
The speaker spoke with anger, with such intensity, with conviction, not conviction that is formed through lived experience, verifiable experience, but rather it was conviction, I guess, that was shaped by an inherited narrative, like stories passed down, feelings that have been reinforced over time, and facts that are evidently blurred. He spoke about not answering to the white man. He spoke about invasion, about resistance. At one point, he referenced figures like Donald Trump and Pauline Hanson, and he spoke aggressively about removing them from any kind of influence, not metaphorically, aggressively. That's not rhetoric, by the way. That is dangerous. And what struck me the most was the contradiction in his speech. In the same space, the speaker said, we believe in love. We don't need laws to tell us how we speak. They do. He was pointing down the road where the other rally was happening. That's why they legislate speech. And then in the same breath, he called for the end of what he described as the tyrannical reign of the white man. In no way is that unity. That's unresolved grievance being used as a weapon. And then there was this.
Australia, they let it change it too. To be Aboriginal land. Well, I say, what do we want? What do we say? Land rights, please. Don't forget our 10. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Now. When do we want it?
Now. The result of that speech, the Australian flag being burnt. And I'll say this plainly. If you leave here, this is your country now. You benefit from its system, its protection, its stability. So much so that people are now fraudulently self-identifying as Indigenous just so that they can access benefits they never were entitled to. The recent Pauline Hanson movie actually explains this really clearly. Particularly, it referenced the individuals that are identifying as indigenous to fractions that are as little as 1/16th. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. You should go watch it. The super progressive movie. That alone tells us something is deeply broken. And it goes to the very heart of our national disunity that we are all currently experiencing. So we left. And we went to the rally that we actually came for. I'm being a true blue Aussie today and wearing shorts because it's Australia Day. We've been out here at the rally in Brisbane where Pauline Hanson just spoke, and I'm looking forward to seeing who else is out here. I'm certainly hoping that I can speak to guys like Sam Bamford, and I already saw Edward Schouler before, and it's the crowd here has been electric. They've gone for a walk, but it's going to be pretty cool to see what happens today. I'm not going to be here for long, but it should certainly be a good time. The atmosphere was lighter. People were smiling, families were there and happy. There was music, genuinely good music, free sausages, and something that was unmistakably Australian in the air. This event was organised by the Australian Lobby Group, and they actually did do a fantastic job. Earlier in the day, Pauline Hanson spoke here, and let me be pretty clear about this. I'm not a member of One Nation. I am not advocating for joining any one particular party, but facts do matter. Pauline Hanson has been consistent. She speaks about unity, national identity, and she hasn't shifted her core message to chase approvals. Whether you agree with her or not, that is consistency, and in our day and age, that does matter. Emeka Unscripted exists to ask the questions others won't, and to do it honestly. If this content educates, enlightens, or empowers you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support keeps these conversations independent, thoughtful, and alive. Then Edward Schouler spoke, and a common thread began to emerge. Let's take a look.
You know full well that the erosion of our country has not happened overnight, but I challenge you to face the reason why it's happened at all. And maybe this is something you haven't considered before. Our collapse has come as we've collectively rejected the cornerstone of our nation, Jesus Christ. We all worship something, this is the truth, whether it be money, ourselves, or our great country. But the decline of our nation, which can be turned on its head at once, has surely taught us one thing very clearly. We strive in vain if our faith is not in Christ. So to you who love your country, accept the gift of redemption you've been freely given. For righteousness exalts a nation, but sin condemns any people. And it is through Christ alone that we can be made righteous. By him, by God, we'll have our home again.
He spoke about values, responsibility, and something largely absent from public life today: faith. The idea that Christ is King, not as a slogan, but as a moral center. I had to catch up with Edward afterwards because what fascinated me was that this is a young Australian who has become very clear in his understanding that Australia can only be saved if we return our grounding back to our founding, which is Christianity. And he made that pretty clear. Okay, so you just spoke at the Brisbane rally for Australia Day, the Australia First rally.
Yep.
How did you feel about being on there and addressing these people with your message?
Oh, it's just brilliant to get up there and see how many people there are as well. People are sick of the levels of migration we've got in this country.
Yeah.
They're proud of our country, which is why they're here today.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
more so, they want to save the country, which means shutting the gate.
Yeah, the
in terms of
unsustainable levels of migration.
100%, and there's also an identity aspect to it, which I touched on there.
Yeah.
And I believe the solution is, return to our Anglo-Celtic tradition, our culture, and also Christianity, because that is the moral fabric of our nation.
Reinforcing or putting right back in the center that we were a Christian nation.
Yep.
And the reason is because their morality was predicated on who Christ was.
Yep.
And the foundations being those biblical foundations.
We couldn't agree more. We need a return to Christianity, and it's in the stats as well. Like at our federation in 1901, 96% Christian. Declined to now we're about 40%. So
that's
less than half.
Less than 50%.
Yeah, which means it's not the predominant culture anymore.
Yeah.
It's this sort of mishmash multiculturalism that is. And I don't think there's a way back without Christ. And we've got ourselves to the brink of collapse as a country. People are sick of it. Like people don't. We're not going to be cowed. We're not going to be bullied into saying our country's not good or it's done bad things.
The center of the message has been we as a nation need to return back to Christ.
Agreed, mate. Agreed.
Thanks for your time, man.
Cheers, Emeka.
Appreciate it, mate. I also spoke to a gentleman here. His name is Lachlan, a country Australian. Someone who felt something was wrong long before it became fashionable to say so.
We Queenslanders lead from the front, carry Australia forward, worthy of the dead who built us. Let us make them proud of our flag. Happy Australia Day.
Nice to meet you, Emeka.
Lachlan.
Yes.
Good to meet you. And so I saw you spoke before. And one of the things, my biggest setback from that was you've recently become one of the lobbyists for the Australian lobby group.
Yep.
That's the name. Did I say that
The
right?
Australian Lobby Group. That's
We
correct.
should put it here so that people can see it.
For sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
That'll be amazing. So it's okay. Talk to me about that. What does that do, and what's the aim? What's the hope around that? I should say, for context for people, we are at the Australia Day rally for
We
Australia
are.
First.
Yep. Put on by the Australian Lobby Group.
Oh wow, okay, now I know. Very cool, very cool. So Australian Lobby Group, talk to me about that. What does that do? What's the aim here? I understand a little bit of your context and your story, but I'd love to put some content out of what you guys do.
I mean, we live in this system. We're supposed to vote for the politicians that then represent our voices in Parliament. But I think there's a growing awareness, which we're aware.
Yes.
Those
very
politicians love more so to listen to these foreign lobbyists or these big corporations that grab their ear and demand from them their own interests above that of what is best for the people. So the Australian Lobby Group, for some reason, we've never tapped into this channel. We've never tapped into this.
The people haven't. The
We
everyday man haven't. And I love what, I'm not sure what his name is, but he said something before. He said, we're actually trying to represent the people that don't have money to pay to be represented.
Yeah, well, that's how the platform that we've built works, right? So, it's general membership, of course, anybody can sign up and join. But for those who don't have the resources, we call it proof of work.
Okay.
Get on board, share the content, make content, promote the content, and you'll get access yourself to the platform.
Okay.
Why is that valuable? Because you yourself then can bring policy to us.
Yeah, great.
The Australian Lobby Group is a voice for the people.
Amazing.
All the people.
Yeah.
And look, and I'm no one special to be that voice.
Because that's, I think, one of the biggest factors. There's a few, but certainly one of the reasons why Australia is where it is now is because we've slept walk into that.
We have.
Right?
Yeah, well, we trusted government.
Yeah.
We trusted the
blindly.
system. Okay, but we have to remember our foundations. We have to be proud of that.
Yeah.
We have to stand strong on that.
Yes.
Because that's what built this nation.
Yeah.
We don't want to fracture that, lose that stability.
Absolutely. And so when people often watch me, talking to a guy like you and being like, I'm pro-Australian and I'm pro everything that means. I'm also pro a system where we're not having constant influx of people that is unmanageable. And I'm saying, mate, first of all, I am grateful, you're correct, that I got to be here, right? And I came and I added to the economy. It's one thing. I know that there are people that don't come here with that level of intent, right? No readiness to assimilate, no intentions to become a part of it. They, in fact, want to change it and make it where they came from. And my thing is, no thanks.
No, well, then why'd you even come?
God,
right?
Seriously. The next thing for me, and that I've said really clearly for people, is that, it's not only that I'm excited about it and I've added to it, but the reality is that if people all come here together, if we come here and we have this unending tap of people just influxing non-stop, right? No economy will sustain that.
No, that's right. Our high priority visas or our skilled visas, whereas baristas, actors.
Turning back, really? That's high skilled?
Yeah, that's what it's about. It absolutely has to be shut down, what we're facing right now, because we look across the Western world, we're all following the same pattern. These proud ancient nations are being ripped apart. Unfortunately, and we're seeing it here now, to maintain this influx of people, we're losing all the basic rights that we've had to establish this nation. And that's, the reality is only tyranny will hold together a multicultural society.
100%.
And we're seeing it in action. We're living it. That's what's quite confronting.
But I mean, it's good to hear from you, and certainly I wanted to chat with you on this because I'm certainly at the moment all for sharing on whatever I can that supports the voices being heard. My whole thing was, okay, I'm a businessman, so I'm like, okay, what does success mean? How would I know I've been successful? If I can somehow be a part of the journey, however much or little, of convincing people that in 2 years, none of those people that we voted in before get to be those in those seats again.
That would be success.
That would be success.
Oh yeah.
Right, and so when I chat with guys like you, the Australian Lobby Group, and what you guys are doing, I want to know that we have a unifying position. And that unifying position is that, hey, we're united on the fact that these guys that we elected, that are employees, don't know what they're doing.
Oh, they don't know what they're doing.
And we don't want them there anymore.
That's right.
And we got to get rid of them. So whatever it is I can do to support Australia Lobby Group, and however we have a synergy to make that happen.
No, cheers.
I'd love to do that, and I'd love to support that and put that as far and wide as it can go.
We're all fighting the same battle, Mecca. We're all going the same direction.
Is there anything like information-wise that you could give the people about how to be a part of Australian Lobby Group, why you're doing it, what it is about?
Sure. I mean, if you just search it, the Australian Lobby Group, can't believe the name was available, but it will be the first one that comes up. So check it out. Have a look at the policies. Now, I'm just a farm boy from North Queensland. Cane farming parents, grandparents. I live on the farm myself, but I'll be making the trips down to that cold, dark place of Canberra to speak directly to the politicians on your behalf, all the members. And we'll see what we can accomplish. Everyone else has lobbies except for the Australian people. Well, I'm happy to talk with anyone. I'm not about making enemies, but I'm about getting results.
Awesome, because at the end of the day, unity is actually our strength. Unity in truth, by the way, those two things. It can be unity in the wrong thing and in lies and in bullcrap, you know? But no, awesome talking to you, man. I really appreciate it.
Mecca.
Thank you for chatting with me. He's put his hand up to represent everyday Australians through the Australian Lobby Group. People without money, people without influence, and people without access. Unlike wealthy corporations that effectively help design the laws that govern us. Laws that concentrate wealth upwards and quietly, or maybe not so quietly, strips the middle class of any real chance of getting ahead. An economy that is engineered not for participation, but certainly for permanent dependency, which is what we're all feeling. Here's the reality. Big corporates have lobbies. Foreign interests, they also have lobbies. Political insiders certainly do have their lobbies, and Australians, you know, the everyday ones, they don't. So the path forward with Australian Lobby Group is certainly a good start, but not the complete solution. But we can't be naive. This is a crisis that is multifaceted. Voting carefully does matter. Defunding political machines like Labour Union through alternative unions like Red Union with Edward Schuller absolutely matters. But here's the part that should concern everyone. I recently asked in a previous recording, what happens if governments change the rules before the next election? So I guess they can't be voted out. At that time, I thought I was actually speculating, but it turns out that I really wasn't. They are actively in the process of creating campaign finance caps, disclosure restrictions, structural barriers that make it almost impossible for new voices to be seen so that they can't be elected. And if you think that's where it ends, no, it doesn't. Because look at the UK.
In Russia last year, 400 people were arrested for things that they said on social media. 400 people in Russia. Obviously, this country is very different. How many people do you think were arrested in Britain for things they said on social media last year?
Go on.
Take a guess.
I have no idea.
3,300.
Really? arrested for what they'd said on social media?
Yeah.
Really? What sort of things get you
Well,
arrested?
one example I give in my show is there was a young woman from Liverpool called Chelsea Russell. Her friend was killed in a car crash, a 19-year-old woman. And she posted the lyrics of his favorite song on her Instagram, the lyrics. And there was a rap song, so the lyrics contained several instances of the N-word. Okay? She was arrested, prosecuted, found guilty, given 500 hours of community service and a fine, tagged, and for a year, she was under 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew.
My goodness.
In Britain.
In Britain.
When arresting people starts to become, I guess, impractical, the solution wasn't to restrain and stop the madness. It was to remove the threat altogether. Because they're convinced that their current trend is not going to lead them to being appointed as a government ever again. But this part does matter. To the police, to the military, and to all the public servants out there, during COVID, we saw something that was frankly insane. So let me point this out to you. You cannot serve blindly. You cannot enforce justice simply because it is being made legal. We saw this during COVID. Businesses were destroyed. Families were broken. People arrested for trying to simply survive. Power relies on compliance. And the most powerful form of resistance is conscience. One that you have. Knowing when to say this has crossed the line and choosing to exercise your civil and human duty to other humans to say, no, I can't, because it's not right. What's happening in the UK is coming here. The trend has showed us that it always does. The question isn't whether something needs to happen. The question is what you are willing to do. I don't have all the answers. But I do know this. I refuse to sleepwalk into a future where freedom is traded for comfort, where history is used as a weapon instead of a lesson, and where Australians forget who they are, because we did not fight for that. We fought for freedom. So think about it. Not forever though, just long enough to decide which future you are willing to stand up for. I rest my case.